Okay, this is my Hobie Pro Angler 14, and I've been fishing with it for a few months now. A lot of trips to Texoma and bigger water, several trips to Cooper. On those larger lakes, where you got to cover a lot of ground looking for hybrids or striper or something like that, end up, at the end of the day, just being completely exhausted. One of my friends put a trolling motor on a NuCanoe, and I was quite envious of his ability to, effortlessly go from spot to spot. And so I started thinking about a trolling motor then. The next trip I went out there, I was by myself on Cooper, and I covered 10 miles in about 5 hours, maybe 4 hours. Never found the hybrids, and obviously I was pretty whipped by the time it was over. There's a lot of pretty big wind that day, pretty rough water. So I followed his lead and went on Walmart.com and bought a Minn Kota Enduramax 45-pound thrust trolling motor, and started thinking about how I was going to mount it on my Pro Angler. I've looked at a lot of videos and looked at the little system that's for sale on eBay, and I just didn't think that it was gonna, for small areas, small water, that thing would probably be fine. But I didn't think it'd have enough power on the lakes that I'm trying to fish, which is primarily Texoma, but also Cooper, maybe a little bit of Hubbard whenever we're striper or hybrid fishing. So I decided to put it in there. And to say it fits might be a stretch, but I can say that it'll go in there. So here's what I'm going to demonstrate that for you now. See if I can get this camera up where you can see it. Alright, so I had to file just a tiny bit off of the prop down close to the hub, and I don't know if you can see, you can see it's reshaped a little bit. If you look at one of these Minn Kota props, they actually come out a little bit like that. So I probably shaved off maybe a quarter of an inch. I got it in there the first time without doing that, but it deformed it a little bit, so I just went ahead and filed it down. So here you go. You have to have the prop lined up perfectly. You also have to have the head turned sideways in this configuration. Now I may not stay with this. I may end up removing the head and mounting it over here next to the rudder back a little bit, maybe even putting it in a control box, which that'd require major surgery on the motor head, and I'm not ready to do that yet, so I'm going to stay with what I got right now for a few trips just to see how it goes. Now to get this in on the water, I'm going to have to be about knee deep in water whenever I put in or take out, because it is a kind of a manhandle operation. I don't think I'll be able to do it on the water without, going swimming. So let's see. Put it in there. You can see how tight things are. That's against the hull of the boat. And of course, whenever the boat's in the water, it's going to have a little bit of lubrication from the lake water. But basically, you just kind of work it in there. Sorry about that. Push it on through. Hopefully the camera caught that. Now then, once you get it in there, I'll show you a little bit more about my cassette here in a minute. I modified the cassette. I drilled a hole through it for the motor shaft. You got to take the motor apart to get it through the cassette. Then you just get this thing straightened up, push it down in there. Oops. And that's in there. Then you take and slide your motor stop down. So that it stays where you want it. You gotta kind of look down through there, line the motor up, line the head up. Then there's a bolt that'll go through under here. So it's to get it in here, it's going to have to really be great for me to do this every time I go to the lake, because there is, it's about a 5-10 minute, if I'm lucky, 5 or 10 minute installation at the lake. So that's that. Now to look at the cassette, what I did is I just took a cutting board. I went and I've actually found some aluminum plate at Lowe's that I could have used. Actually, it was pretty tough looking. It was diamond plate, but I didn't want to spend another 35 bucks on this in the event that I didn't like it here. So I kind of ditched that effort, came home and saw my bait cutting board laying over there, and my jigsaw. So one thing led to another, and I now have a reinforced cassette. So that's that. The battery will go back here for the first couple of runs. I'm just going to tie it down like that. I'm not going to put a box on it or anything. This battery is obviously a used battery out of my boat, and seems to hold a charge well, so we'll just see how it goes. I'm going to try and test this out this afternoon if I can find some small quiet water to do so, and maybe I'll get some video there as well. So that's what I got so far. And of course, seeing it down underneath, you can see I just got it barely up off the floor right now, and can't really get out here outside the pipes that I set my kayak on, so you can kind of see, hopefully, what we got there now. And that's that. Okay, so now I have the power hooked up. One thing about this EnduraMax is it has a battery meter on top, so that gives you a charge indication while you're out on the water. That's kind of nice. And this Maximizer technology, it's a digital switching technology for the motor, so it switches the motor actually on and off many times a second, and it increases the switch on switch off rate whenever you're at a higher speed, so your prop turns more and faster. And what that does for you is at lower speeds it allows you to actually conserve battery energy, as you would think you would based on the lower speed. Older technology motors, whenever you actually go from high speed down to low speed, all it really does is it switches part of your power into a resistor set, so it you still use roughly the same amount of current. So this is good, especially for a kayak where maybe your only means of propulsion. Of course, on the Pro Angler I'll be carrying the Mirage Drive with me, and I'll also have a paddle. If worse really comes to worse, I'll break out the paddle. So anyway, I'm going to show you how it looks down here on the prop. So I'll start slow. That's just putting. It's also a variable speed on this EnduraMax. So for $190 at Walmart.com, it's a killer deal. They're $240 at Cabela's or anywhere else. So faster. Should be able to hear it a little bit now. I don't think you'll hear that in the water much. That's on about a quarter speed. That's cooking with gas right there. I don't want to waste all my battery. Just showing you guys my propeller turns. So that's it. I'm going to get a little bit of a close-up of the cassette. I'll pop that out of there so you can kind of see. So that's what it looks like. I put some foam material inside the cassette to keep it from filling up with water after I drilled the holes in it. So anyway, I don't know how these little stubs here are going to hold up. This whole thing may fall apart on me on the first trip, but we'll see. I got some half-inch aluminum rod ready and a chunk of 4x4 cut that I'll just whittle into the shape of this cassette if necessary. All right.